Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
But ultimately, I think for our team, for Kirk, it's just been a positive to know that we've trailed in the fourth quarter some games that we've ended up winning because of our guys and their ability to go make plays and Kirk leading the way. Hopefully we can just continue to develop that consistency for four quarters. But we do know in the back of our minds, we've now confirmed that we can win a game despite losing the lead in the fourth quarter. And Pat, you know how competitive this league is.
There he is, Kevin O'Connell, not doing the awkward Skol chant with Pat McAfee this time around. What I want to know here is, Judd, what's it going to take for you to dress like Pat McAfee on this show with the sleeveless, the cutoff shirt, and some sort of ripped, stonewashed jeans? Can we make that happen?
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea for
show
a look.
the guns.
But I mean, I don't have shirts like that. First of all,
I would have to
go out and find.
Give me a scissors.
I would have to go out and find a shirt like that. I think he's got. I bet you he pays a pretty penny for those.
For those sleeveless, I'll bet you.
Just cuts them off.
I don't know. You think
Strikes
those are
me
like
as something
high-end sleeveless shirts that he's wearing?
Yes, but that's my personal opinion.
Do you think he paid over $100 for that sleeveless shirt?
I think he certainly could have. I mean,
That's
the guy's got cash to burn, right?
I mean, I guess if you're raking in like $50 million a year from whatever he is, I mean, you might as well pay $100 for a sleeveless shirt. This is Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. If you're watching us on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button and the like button so we can spread the word about this awesome community of Vikings fans. We'll get to write that down predictions here shortly, but the show is presented by our friends at TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. And just a few days away, this Sunday, I'll be on the big screen like Frank Thomas at the steroid hearings 15 years ago, just lurking over everyone. But you guys are going to be hanging out with Purple Daily listeners and viewers and Vikings fans for a special Vikings vent line and game viewing party at Surly Brewing Company.
And it's going to be a great time. It will be a watch party for the Vikings and Dolphins starting at noon. And yes,
and Skyler. So we're going to go to watch Skyler run for his life.
Yep, exactly right. And all of the great beers and a few that you probably have never seen because they're Brew Hall exclusive will be available. We'll drink Furiouses. We will
Warp
drink
Zones.
Before I Die. We'll drink Warp Zones. That's what Declan loves. We will drink all of the great beers, and then post game, hopefully, Dex and I can be coherent enough to be part of Ventline, which, as Phil said, he won't be there, but he will host. It's going to be a grand time Sunday. Join us, Surly Brew Hall, for the first of two parties at which we will talk Vikings with you, do a vent line. The next one will be November 6th for the Washington game. But make plans to be there on Sunday. Purple Daily family will gather, will unite, and hopefully we'll watch a Vikings victory before the bye.
Go walk up to Judd and give him a giant hug, okay?
I'm prepared for people here, so I'm not going to be faced. You see, I'm going to be prepared. I'm good. I welcome this. This is going to be a great time.
Yeah. Let's make it happen. All right. Let's fire this up here. Write that down, Declan.
Most make predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackie and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions.
Write this down.
And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Write that down.
It's Write That Down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
With Mackie and Judd.
Yeah, this is the only show in America that actually puts statistics next to our predictions, okay? We're not afraid to face the music on Purple Daily and Mackie and Judd. A segment that goes back to, I believe, 2015 on the old Mackie and Judd radio show. And a segment that's being stolen now by the NFL Network pregame show on Sundays. No attribution, no acknowledgement whatsoever. So you know what? You know what we're going to do? They're going to steal our segment. We're going to steal their theme song. That's right, NFL Network. We're stealing your theme song right now.
I got a copyright.
That's the difference. They probably went through and actually copyrighted their stuff, and we probably didn't. But anyways, Here's how it works. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And listeners, if you want to hang out with us and make predictions like Lacey and our guy Thor Nystrom from the Before We Die podcast on Purple Daily, and also Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros, you can just send us a message through the feedback tab in the Score North app. So let's get right to it. Judd always leads us off here, mostly because that's the way that we have it set up in my little system here. So, Judd, you had a few things come off the board in the accountability session. You said Justin Jefferson will have 5 or more catches.
You did.
And catch at least a touchdown.
Yeah. Judd, you're muted. Judd, you're muted. Judd.
Oh, my bad. My bad. I can explain. There have been 2 days of some type of, and I'm not joking, helicopter drills going on above my house, basically. And it's
those other local media networks trying to figure out how are they doing this? How are they entertaining the masses at such a successful level?
I feel
what's the secret?
Henry Hill in the scene where he's being followed around, like 2 days, a helicopter doing drills above my house. And so I muted myself in case that was bleeding through. Anyway, that's a bad beat. It's a very bad beat for me. The touchdown, I feel I should have gotten it, but I didn't.
This next one's a worse beat. You said the Vikings would cover the 7-point spread.
Same thing that happened to Dex.
God.
It's a push.
Ugh. You did say Kenny Pickett would be the Steelers quarterback before November. He was. It went very poorly, but he was the starting quarterback.
Okay. All right, I rebounded.
And you said Matt Rule won't last the season as the Panthers head coach.
All right, I'll take that.
Correctamundo. How would it be if you're Matt Rule and you get $40 million to go home? Listen to those helicopters, by the way.
And it's like, good fellas, man. And by the way, I don't do drugs. I don't ship drugs. I don't do anything with drugs. I've had this damn helicopter above my house for 2 days straight.
These are helicopters full of all the podcasters you ripped
You
on
want
Feedback
helicopters?
Friday last week.
It's unbelievable. I'll mute myself again. Hopefully not forget.
All right, I had a pretty good week here, actually. Greg, I'll start with the bad ones. Greg Joseph will make his next 5 50-yard field goals, and he missed his first 2. My guy Johnny Munt would score his first NFL touchdown. I think Johnny Munt might have peaked in week 1.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I did tell you, and this is a touchdown here, that old Kirky boy, the fourth quarter pharaoh, Kirky McClutcherton, would tally a 3rd consecutive fourth quarter comeback or game-winning drive against the Bears, and he did. Thank you, Vikings defense, for blowing a 3-score lead.
Yeah, that's very nice for you.
Justin Jefferson, I said, would have at least 10 catches sometime in a game before the Vikings bye week, which he's done twice now. Now, I was being modest here by not giving myself a touchdown, but he had only done this once in his career to this point.
Okay.
But, he was going to have a higher usage, and we were giving him a 6-game runway to get 10 catches in a game. So I think this is just a chunk play.
Chunk play.
If you had predicted more than one, you get a touchdown, but you didn't.
You specified the game, like if you said he would have had 10 against the Bears, then yes, I think it would have been. But
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. This was kind of a bloodbath here for the listeners. Thor, take notes because your co-host went at least 0 for 2, potentially 0 for 3 last week. Jesse Pierce from the Before We Die podcast on Purple Daily said Justin Fields will throw at least 2 picks and be sacked at least 3 times. Actually, one of his better games of the year. Adam Thielen would have 3 touchdowns against the Bears. Sebastian said the Packers will go 3-0 in their next 3 games. And the Bears will have a season high in yards against the Vikings, which they did not. Then Ben had a London games parlay. He said the Vikings would beat the Saints, so he got that one right. Then he said the Packers would beat the Giants. Oops. And this one should have come off the board like a month ago, but Ted said 8 players from the 2022 draft class would make the initial 53-man roster. I counted 9, actually. So
okay. Well, that's
maybe
the problem
even
with exactly.
More. Yep.
At least 8 or more, he could have said.
Yeah. Okay, Declan, you also had a rough week.
Just bad beats.
You said Justin Jefferson goes for at least 7 catches and 100 yards.
Yeah.
And at least a touchdown.
That's same trap I fell into, Declan.
You said the Vikings would
win
by at least
stinks.
7 points against the Bears, which they did, but that they would never trail and they would score at least 25 points. 2 out of 3 on a couple of these parlays.
Almost a touchdown.
You said Teddy would lead a fourth quarter comeback or game-winning drive against the Jets. He was concussed within about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that did not happen. So with that, a lot of moving and shaking here. Declan still maintains leads in both categories, 37% completions, 10 touchdowns. I'm creeping back up to just under 35%, 7 touchdowns. Judd at 34%, 6 touchdowns. Listeners at 22%-ish and 5 touchdowns. So,
hey, Macadec, I'm on your heels. I'm on your heels.
And there's a helicopter on your
There's a helicopter on my heels. I'm telling you. I don't deal drugs. I'm not Henry Hill. This isn't Goodfellas. Stop it.
What are they doing? Are they just circling your neighborhood? Or
they're doing drills of some sort. I kid you not. There was a guy. I went outside yesterday and looked. They had a ladder hanging from the copter, and there were like firefighters practicing, and they were hanging from the ladder.
They're doing firefighter stuff in the satellite parking lot behind us here too at Hubbard. So it must be like firefighter training week or something in Minnesota.
First of all, I would not sign up for the part where I'm forced to hang from a ladder of a helicopter.
Well, then don't be a firefighter.
I want the good stuff.
I don't know that the world needs you as a firefighter.
Yeah.
By the way, this is an example of what could happen if you don't work with Finch Home Solutions. Okay, if you're like a firefighter, what was that Jim Carrey character? Fire Marshal Bill.
Let me tell you something. You take this fork. All right, yeah, you know what, though? You don't want to take that fork. You don't want to do any of that. In fact, it's my personal opinion, DIY around the house overall, overrated. But when it comes to any electrical systems in your home, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to think, do I really want to try to fix this myself with no training? Or do I want to call the professionals from Finch Home Solutions who will, yes, come to my house, talk some Vikings because they're all big Vikes fans, but also they will take care of everything from faulty outlets to flickering lights to installing or repairing electrical panels. And right now they're offering a free home safety inspection to all Purple Daily fans. Finch Home Solutions. You do not want to burn down your house. You want your house standing, and Finch Home Solutions is going to make sure that your house is standing and the job gets done and gets done well. 612-357-2604 or finchhomesolutions.com. My friend Cody and his crew, seriously, they are outstanding at what they do. They're here for you. finchhomesolutions.com.
All right, let's bring them in here. Our guest listener predictors. We got Lacey in the house, and we've got our guy Thor Nystrom from Fantasy Pros, Betting Pros, and the Before We Die podcast on Purple Daily YouTube channel, podcast feed. Gentlemen, welcome in.
Good to be here.
Glorious Wednesday.
Guys,
yeah. Lacey, let's start with you. When did you first become a Vikings fan?
89. I remember 7 years old going to my first and only Vikings game. I'm actually a Chicago native originally, and so all my family are Bears fans, and went to a Bears game. It was the Wade Wilson Vikings back then, Herschel Walker and everything, and the Vikings won. And so I was supposed to become a Bears fan, actually, but Vikings won, so I went with the winning team and been a Vikings fan with the heartbreak ever since.
Love it, man. That's kind of right around the era. I remember the Wade Wilson, like Rich Gannon, very vaguely the end of the Tommy Kramer run, kind of like late 80s, early 90s. But Jerry Burns was the first Vikings coach I remember as a kid. So you and I kind of got hooked around the same time, Lacey.
Yep.
Thor, what's the most upset the Vikings have ever made you in your life watching football?
98. That's the only time I've ever seen my father cry, and I was crying as well. I think there was a lot of people in the state crying then, but definitely that 98 championship game.
Yep. So, and you'll be able to find Thor every Monday and Thursday on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, podcast feed with Jesse Pierce and Ross Brendel, talking Vikings and whatnot. And you can follow him if you're interested in college football and degenerate gambling things on Twitter as well. So let's do this. We're going to start with Thor, Lacey, and then Judd, Declan back to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room. The predictions must be football related or Purple Daily related, and they just must be quantifiable in some way. So, Thor, why don't you lead us off?
Well, since over the summer on the Before We Die show, I said that the Vikings are going to go 12-5 and that they're going to win the NFC North. Now that I'm on the show where we write it down, I want that on paper. The Vikings will go at least 12-5, and they are going to win the NFC North.
Wow, look at this. I feel so. This show is Judd's on 10 wins before the season. Declan and I are on 11. We did repick the schedule 2 weeks ago and landed on the same things here, but this is a step forward. They do have a pretty favorable schedule too, and now they're going to play a third-string 7th-round pick.
Wait for it, boys.
Skyler from.
Wait for it, boys. We got it. We got it, guys.
Flag.
There it is, the flag. Can't make that prediction without the flag. And Before I Die. There it is. There. Thor, that's for you, baby. All for you, the flag flying.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. $12 hardware store.
All right, Lacey, this is your chance to predict 13.
Well, I'm not going to go 13 just yet, although I was like Thor. I had us 12-5 going into the season when I did mine. But I will take a chance to piggyback off of that. And I will say that I believe that Kirk Cousins at the end of the season will have his worst statistical year as a Viking, but have his best team success via regular season record and playoff success.
Okay. How can we quantify? So to help quantify this, should we you want to use like passer rating or what for his regular season performance? What do you want to use?
Well, we can use for his stats. You guys can decide what do you feel. We'll quantify that.
How much is passer rating? Just passer rating?
Yeah.
Is that cool?
Passer rating
is fine. As far as team success, I was thinking he would have his most wins as Vikings quarterback, and he's already had a first round win. So that means I'm saying he's going to win at least 2 games in the playoffs this year.
Okay.
Uh-oh, Judd.
Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Stella, give me the flag. There it is. Stella coming through.
Wow. We still have like 2.5 trips around the room here.
I'm tuckered. I'm too old for this.
How can we continue to top these predictions?
Oh my God.
All right, Judd.
Okay,
Pour some cold water on it.
No, I'm not going to. I'm just not going to top what has been predicted thus far. For Sunday's game, one that will come off the board immediately. But much like Kevin O'Connell, I have faith in the kicking game. Didn't have a great game on Sunday, but it happens. Mm-hmm. Greg Joseph won't miss a field goal or extra point attempt on Sunday in Miami. So Greg Joseph won't miss. Now, personally on grass, I don't think they're going to ask him now to attempt a 50-plus yard field goal on Sunday, just a total guess. But, he will not miss a kick on Sunday.
Get it to the right hash mark if you're going to try that. That seems to be a thing with him.
Write this down.
So the left hash mark versus the right one.
Watch your noggin there.
My cap just hit it. It's fine. Let's keep going.
All right, Declan, go ahead.
All right, my first prediction, and I'm actually going to need Judd Zolgad to take off his headphones for it.
No, I'm turning my headphones
We haven't done one of these in a while, so I want to make sure Judd can't hear me.
I'll make sure he's not cheating.
Judd, admit that you don't know what a vest is. Okay, we got it. All right, write this down. Judd will mention, write, or predict and write that down for Ed Donatel to be fired between now and the end of the month. So this could technically come off in 2 minutes, but
so this could happen on our show, or on like his Vikings Wire written work, or
write that
social
down.
media.
Yeah, he will predict.
It's got to be on a platform though. It can't just be like in a text. Or dude, if you want to screenshot a text or something in our little group text thread.
But I'll put it in the. I don't want to do it between now and the end of the season. I want a touchdown, and I want it in this month. Like if they drop an egg to Skylar Thompson, he's going to come out here and call for him to be fired. Okay. So Judd will mention, write, or predict and write that down for Ed Donatel to be fired between now and the end of the show, or end of the month. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Write it down.
Right,
You
Judd.
like writing
You're good.
things down.
Come on back in, Judd.
Come on back in, Judd. Come back in.
Well, that was long. What'd you predict? My demise?
Not necessarily.
He predicted a demise of some kind.
Like with a date? Did you call the time of death?
There's a chance this could happen today.
You know what? Exactly right.
Yeah. Okay, I have a Vikings versus Dolphins 3-item parlay here for you guys. Okay.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Vikings win. Adam Thielen scores at least a touchdown, and the Vikings defense generates at least 3 sacks. So 3-item parlay, Vikings win. Adam Thielen, at least a touchdown. Vikings defense generates at least 3 sacks. They've only had 1 4-sack game. It was against Aaron Rodgers, who I don't think was sacked 4 times in a game all of last year. So write that down. Okay, before Thor makes his next prediction, since you have an absurd catalog mentally of all college football players ever, what is your level of concern defending 7th-round pick out of Kansas State, Skylar Thompson, this weekend?
Very little. Very little. He looked good in the preseason. I will give it to him. He flashed a little bit there, but he's got a decent arm and he's got a little bit of mobility. But tossing that kid in to start an NFL game, I don't think it's going to go very well for them. And at Kansas State, they didn't run a pro-style system. So the fact that you're going to put him in on October 15th or whatever to start an NFL game, I just don't think that kid's ready. And Mike McDaniel, we know how confident he is in himself. I think he's probably thinking, I can turn this kid, I can make him viable. But we'll see. I doubt it.
Okay, that means the Vikings are going to
we just got a
find
scouting
some way
report
to
on
lose.
the guy
Right?
I hadn't heard of till 2 weeks ago.
That's what Thor. By the way, that's what Thor brings
Write
to
this down.
all of his
It's
content.
fantastic.
Just an encyclopedia. All right, Thor. Back to your second prediction.
Yeah, going off of that, and I'm going to make this one a little bit simpler than your last one, Phil, because I'm trying to make up for Jesse's the last one. I'm trying to get our show back to even, back to 500. The Vikings will cover the 3.5 number against the Dolphins on Sunday. I think it's still 3.5. Maybe
You're locking it in now.
I want to lock it in right now with Skylar Thompson starting. Vikings will win, and they will cover that number.
How high does that thing get up to, like 5 or 5.5 by game time?
I would be surprised if it's not 5 by tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing that's probably headed toward 5.5, 6, somewhere like that.
Agreed.
We'll see. Which might be too aggressive, but you're locking it in at 3.5. So
locking it in.
Write this down.
All right, Lacey, your second prediction.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the winner of this year's Super Bowl will be a team that has not won a Super Bowl before.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Judd?
Like
gotta
that.
get the flag. Flag.
Let's go.
He's leaving himself some wiggle room.
There it is.
Who are just off the record here? So, Vikings are obviously one of those teams. Who are the other contenders?
Bills and Vikings would be the
Chargers, I guess.
Chargers. You have the Titans.
The Titans have never won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
I like your I like the Bill. I love the optimism with a huge hedge towards the Bills, but not saying it. Like that's a write that down. Well done, because the town will love you then, right? Like now you're the most popular guy on this segment. But what you didn't say was you really think it's going to be the Bills.
It's a Bills teaser. It's a Bills teaser.
That my man, is write that down. Brilliance. Love it.
All right, Judd, your second prediction.
All right, Phil, you're going to have to probably keep the closest eye or ear on this on Sunday, since Dex and I are going to be at Surly Brewing for the watch party.
Okay.
The telecast on Sunday, which is Kenny Albert and his partner, they will talk about at one point in time the relationship that exists between O'Connell and McDaniel. So they've crossed paths and both know Shanahan, McVay, blah blah blah. So there will be a point where they talk about these two young coaches who, by the way, used to talk on the phone every night about schematics or something like that.
Okay. I can already envision Kenny Albert, just his little, I don't know if I can do a Kenny Albert impression. And
sounds
these
just like
guys
his old
go
man.
way back in the day. These guys were scheming up plays in the dirt.
Write it down.
Hey.
You like writing things down.
Yes. I just went into a Marv there.
You went into a Marv and sort of a parrot, but yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Kevin O'Connell.
All right, Declan's second prediction.
All right, the Vikings might be getting Skylar Thompson this weekend, but they have been allowing some pretty crap quarterbacks to carve them up. I think Dalton, Justin Fields, Jared Goff have all. I know Dalton and Justin Fields had passer ratings above 100 against the Vikings defense the last 2 weeks, which is just absurd. So write this down. The Vikings will hold the Dolphins starting quarterback to a passer rating of 95 or below. I want to speak this into existence because I want them to shove it down a bad quarterback. And for whatever reason, they did it against Aaron Rodgers, but they can't do it against Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. So write it down. The Vikings will hold the Dolphins starting quarterback to a passer rating of 95 or below.
Okay. All right. That should be achievable.
Things down.
I would think. Okay, write this down. The Vikings defense or special teams will score a touchdown in this game.
I had this written down.
Oh, is it playing the game?
Well, then give us a player.
Playing the
Dax,
game.
you can keep it. Just you got to one up Phil.
You have to add something to it.
Yeah.
Is the rule. The Vikings will score a defensive or special teams touchdown in this game. I could see like a strip sack, pick it up. I could
the
also
record,
see
who scores it?
Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor scores it off the record. But we're going to play that clip 100 times if it happens. Otherwise, we're going to flush it.
And we're going to cut out the off-the-record part, so you just sound like you predicted Jalen Reagor.
Yes, exactly. All right, back to Thor for your third and final prediction here.
Cut. Wait, hold on a second. I'm getting a call. Hello? Oh my! It's actually the guy in the helicopter above Judd's house.
Oh no!
Can you explain why you're above Judd's house?
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to figure out how Judd knew that Johnny Munt was going to be contributing on this team in early August. So that's really interesting. I'm actually on Write This Down right now. Do you have a prediction? Oh, he does. Okay, tell it to me. Okay, the prediction is the Vikings will make a trade before the trade deadline.
Oh.
And perhaps maybe to minimize Johnny Munt's role a little bit, get a true inline tight end, because Irv, he's more of a matchup piece. I think he's more of an H-back. You could look to get an inline tight end. You could look to fortify the cornerback room. With where the Vikings are right now, they are obviously a legitimate contender, looking like they are going to be playing playoff football this year. They do have a couple of clear holes on the roster. A couple of minor trades could help solidify those things. An inline tight end should not be that hard to find. There's several that should be available. Mike Gesicki, Albert O, Nick Boyle, Tommy Sweeney. The list goes on and on of guys that just aren't playing for their team.
Let's get Gronk out of retirement.
Get Gronk out of
Make
retirement.
a phone call.
And at cornerback, Sidney Jones isn't playing for the Seahawks. He might be able to help them. I mean, there's several guys out there that could, but I think the Vikings will make a trade before the deadline. And apparently that guy does too.
Are you going on the record? Is the prediction stopping at they will make a trade before the deadline, and then off the record they could add a tight end, or do you want the tight end part on the record?
I would just like the on the record to be the Vikings will make the trade before the deadline, but I think the positions to look at would be inline tight end and cornerback help.
Okay. That is fair. Yeah, that's fair. Judd, do you have any defense for your guy Johnny Munt here, who is the lowest graded Vikings regular offensive player according to PFF so far this season?
I never said how long he'd be a contributor. I told you I saw him in the spring camps, and I said he's going to contribute. I never made a 17-game prediction. I said he already contributed.
Yeah.
His job here is done.
Yeah, I think after dropping that pass that could have rattled around his hands and off of his chest 6 times.
Went
that
right through his hands.
Well, Thor, we wish you the best in your 3 predictions. Since you have this life-changing platform right now on Write That Down, is there anyone you'd like to thank that brought you to this pinnacle moment?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family, and I'd like to thank all the listeners out there, everyone who tunes in every single week. Hope to see you on Mondays and Thursdays going forward, and appreciate you boys as well.
Awesome, dude.
You're awesome.
All right, we'll see you sometime soon. That's Thor Nystrom from the Before We Die podcast on Purple Daily and from Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros. All right, Lacey, your third and final prediction, man.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know. I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid. Judd, get the flag ready. Piggybacking. My last final prediction, I'll write that down. The Week 10 matchup between the Buffalo Bills and Minnesota Vikings will be a Super Bowl preview.
Oh, which guarantees your second prediction to be true.
Are you promising a Super Bowl victory against the Bills?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to stop short.
So if that's the case, then the flag is going to go down to half mast. It's a sad day in Viking land. It's a sad day.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing.
Bill has demanded it be fly at half mast.
Lacey, great predictions here. All right. Is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that brought you to this life-changing moment on Write That Down?
All right. First, I want to thank my family of Bears fans for driving me to come to the purple side. And even though it's been a lifetime of misery, I would love to be anywhere else. I love my purple and gold. I love my Vikes skull. And then I want to thank my wife, because I wouldn't be on this show with you guys today if it wasn't for her pushing to say, hey, you're always watching. You're always talking with the guys. You talk sports with everybody. You need to take the time to actually, start a podcast yourself and go on the show and just do it. And so she pushed me to be here today. Awesome. And for that, I thank her.
Awesome, man.
Way cool, man.
Are you going to launch a podcast here sometime?
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to see how I want to do it. Everybody has their thing. So I'm just trying to figure out how I fit in. And it's something that I just want to come on with you guys today, see how I felt about it, and then go for it. So hopefully maybe I'm on again in the future.
Once you launch your podcast, come on, take 3 more swings on Write That Down, and then promote your podcast next time. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I will do.
All right. Great stuff from Lacey.
Awesome.
Making Judd fly the flag
Judd's
a bunch
exhausted.
of times here.
I am tired.
All right. Well, finish strong here. Fourth quarter. Finish strong.
Fourth quarter.
Your third and final prediction.
All right. My final prediction actually is going to go away from the Vikings and just remain in the National Football League. And it is this. Let's see, when can I pick? By November 1st. So this will include the Vikings game against the Commanders. Carson Wentz will have been benched in favor of Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
So Carson Wentz by essentially, Dex, I guess, the end of this month. Because starting with the games of November, and I think the Vikings' first one is the 6th, right? When we're doing the watch party at Surly for the Commanders game, Carson Wentz will have been benched.
Well, so I missed this. Because Ron Rivera apologized. What did Ron Rivera say?
He was asked about why are the 3 other teams in the NFC East playing so much better than you are, and his response was quarterback, and then went on in a detail about that they have good quarterback play.
He tried to be as nice as possible while just being truthful.
Yeah.
So how many times does Carson Wentz have to be the common denominator and
coach killer,
frustrated locker room, frustrated coach, etc.?
I think this is it.
What is it about his personality? Because he seems like such an aw shucks kind of guy. He's just doing his thing. But man, he has just lit it on fire with 3 different teams now.
I think it was Stu Gotts that said if you could have one quarterback throw 70-yard dart, you want Carson Wentz. If you want a quarterback to throw 3 yards, you want no other quarterback in the entire world than Carson Wentz.
Mm.
Well, yeah, because he throws those stupid passes from the end
bad.
zone. I mean, he changed hands last year. He tried to throw a left-handed pass from his own end zone.
Innovation.
Like that is just beyond stupid.
Creativity. All right.
Write this down.
Declan, your third and final here.
All right, I'll just make a whole new prediction here after Mac and Dex swiped mine. So I'm going to say this, because I believe they're open for business. The Vikings and Panthers will swing a trade between now and the NFL trade deadline.
Ooh, that's a good.
So the Vikings and Panthers, they will make a trade happen between now and the NFL trade deadline. I have no idea who that would be.
Off the record position.
Probably maybe a tight end. Or a linebacker of some sort, defensive end, some other defensive player that can maybe help them. But the Vikings and Panthers will swing a trade between now and the NFL trade deadline.
Kind of hilarious that
I like it.
Remember people were dunking on Judd for the Panthers denied your report that they had a conversation. They laughed at it. Zolgad, go back to just being a clown.
Yep. Clown.
How do you think the Panthers would like to have Kirk over their current quarterback cesspool right now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of cesspools, let's go over to Phoenix, Arizona. More specifically, I think it's Glendale, Arizona, where that stadium is. For my final prediction, Cliff Kingsbury will no longer be the Arizona Cardinals head coach when the Super Bowl rolls around.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I think Monday after the season, it gets blown out.
Yeah.
I'll
say, Black Monday is like after the regular season, right? So
it's the first Monday after the regular season.
I'm just giving myself a ton of room here that dude is not going to be the head coach anymore. I think it probably happens in season. It's not a home run by any means here or a touchdown. I just I need a completion here. So Cliff Kingsbury will not be the Cardinals coach anymore after February 1st. So
okay.
All right, so there it is. The most innovative segment in all of sports media. The only show that keeps track of our statistics and puts them next to our predictions. And again, if you want to jump in here, that was fun. Lacey and Thor, You can send us a message through the Score North app. There's a feedback tab, and we will get you scheduled sometime here. Okay, before we get to what are people saying about the Minnesota Vikings, let's shout out our friends over at Livia for helping Judd lose a lot of weight and keep it off, and a bunch of audience members as well over the past several months.
That's right. And so I started a year plus ago on the program. I lost 40 pounds, and most importantly, I am continuing to keep that weight off. That's the most important thing, and that is thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. And Phil's right. We have had a ton of people who have tweeted us or sent us notes that they joined the program, and guess what? For them, it works too. And if you want to join right now, you'll receive 8 weeks for free. The first 8 weeks for free. The new Flex program, it lets you enjoy the foods that you love, fruit, pasta, and even bread. 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia, LIVEA.com. Inside or outside the state, it doesn't matter. Again, first 8 weeks for free, Livia, LIVEA.com. That is your ticket to dropping those pounds that you want to get off.
Hey, our friends over at Chill Boys right now are offering a 15% discount on all products. The most comfortable boxer briefs you're ever going to wear, hooded sweatshirts, just T-shirts that are ridiculously comfortable. It's promo code SCORE15, SKOR15 at chillboys.com if you would like to live a life of luxury. I am wearing the Chill Boys long underwear right now as we speak.
Are you right now?
Oh,
Sunday, I guarantee you,
Yep.
I will have them on at Surly, and I will
Write it
be
down.
as comfortable. You can write that down. Just don't check. But I will have them on and be as comfortable as I can possibly be. I will say this. Chill Boys products across the board are all fantastic.
the hoodie. The hoodie is
socks.
But he's great.
I have
I
like
love their
15
socks.
hoodies. So I have probably 15 hoodies, which is way too many hoodies.
We
That's a
all
lot.
love the hood. No, it's fine.
In my hoodie power rankings, it is top 3 right now.
Wow.
Oh,
It is top 3. And it's
Okay.
just it's a plain, comfortable hoodie. Like it's just it's amazing.
You don't need stylish. You need comfort.
And it's kind of both. Chillboys.com, Minnesota-based company. Find them online at chillboys.com. All right, what are people saying about the Minnesota Vikings? Let's start with this. This is a call that's coming from inside the house. It's Dalvin Cook talking about the Minnesota Vikings on NFL.com. There's an article. He was quoted actually before the Bears game on Friday, I believe. And I saw this article yesterday. Quote from Dalvin, "It's a different feeling for me just having a head coach in the offensive meetings, period, and having him tell us how he feels. We never met with Zim, so it's different having KO around all the time and feeling his personality and his love." This is not shocking, but to just, I guess I kind of always assumed that Zim would like pop into an offensive meeting once in a while, right? But the answer appears to be no, he did not.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's for the entirety of Cook's career here, or like it became a more recent thing.
I bet it's the whole time.
But it's interesting now, especially because I think the team is off to a successful start. The quotes that are starting to pop up, and they're not like direct shots. It's not like I hate Mike, but I mean, what Kirk said post-game Sunday was as close as Kirk has come to ripping Mike.
And he's never going to do it.
The thing, and no, but I mean, the trust factor and all of those things, which by the way, he's not wrong. That's incredibly important. But I mean, we are starting now to see some very interesting quotes from offensive guys about exactly what was previously probably lacking in a huge way.
You kind of brought it up a couple days ago on the show that Kevin O'Connell is obsessing and pouring his energy into the side of the ball that can dictate in a game. And defense, you can be great, and you can be the 2017 Vikings defense and have everything click, but at the end of the day, you're still just kind of reacting. You aren't dictating the action for 3 hours on defense.
Yes.
So that's the problem is if your head coach is a defensive guy, but also is like having a hand in 30,000-foot offensive strategy, okay, I can maybe live with that. There's a small handful of coaches that are sort of defensive guys that make it work, or special teams guys like John Harbaugh that make it work. But in today's NFL, you can't just have a defensive coordinator. You kind of could still when Zimmer took the job.
Have. And that's what the Bears went with.
But does
Defensive
Eberflus
coordinator.
pop into meetings and stuff? Does
I would hope so, but
you can't have it if the arrangement that the Vikings had with Zim as offense continued to explode. You've got to be obsessing over that side of the ball, you know?
Yes. And so I don't think we've discussed this yet. You know, O'Connell did something that was very interesting against the Bears, and that is he elected to receive the opening kickoff, which as he said, basically all of the advanced metrics say, no, big mistake. And he basically just said, I had a feeling. I wanted to, but that comes back to, I wanted to dictate to them that we are going to attempt to shove the ball down their throat. I sort of like that.
Yeah, I think some of the logic there too, and it actually backfired on them, but is if we can take a lead on this team and jump out, it's going to be even harder for Justin. It's a home game.
Yep.
It's a young quarterback. It's a young team. If we can get out to a 7-0, 10-0, 14-0 lead as early as possible, it's going to make them they're going to have a hard time running the ball, which is what they probably want to do, right? Now, of course, the Bears were down by 3 scores and came back anyway, so
right.
The strategy kind of got lit on fire, but I understand why he did it. I don't know that I would do that against Aaron Rodgers. I think I'd rather just control the middle 8, as it's coined. But against a young, inexperienced quarterback, I might look to do, if the Vikings win the toss against Miami, and you can jump out to a 7-0 lead against a 7th-round pick from this last May that wasn't expected to be on the roster this season, I think you take that opportunity
Get
too.
pressure on this kid too, Ed. Ed, please. Like, if you let this kid sit back there and be like, our guys are going to get home, dude, no. Put pressure on this kid. Put him into a panic.
When would you look to make a move on Ed Donatel?
I don't know. Because, I mean, I guess Pettin could take some control.
Is there any way you would make that happen, like during the bye week?
I don't think so. But, I mean, I don't think they'll make a move. But I do think that if you're O'Connell and that week you get the opportunity for a breather, right? I do think that you have to sit down with Ed and be like, Ed, we're going to dissect this. Like, how do we find ways here? Because, like, this is, for a team that looks to be on the right track, this is flat out not acceptable. And I get that the points aren't bad yet, but, I mean, to Dex's point from before, you know, Jared Goff looked really good. He probably shouldn't look good. Justin Fields looked way better than Justin Fields has looked. Like, there's the common denominator at some point in time gets to be, what are you doing to disturb the quarterback, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's the process stuff that needs to change. The results have not been train wrecky, really.
Correct.
They're kind of a league average. They're actually better than league average in points per game allowed, which at the end of the day is important. But you can't, I guess you can't have Zadarius, unless somebody wants to tell me that Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter are just like a shell of their former selves physically, which I don't know that I see that. Those guys both look like they're still moving around pretty well. So you can't have those guys on your defense and have one of the 5 worst pressure rates.
Right.
So something has to change there, even if it's like moving outside of your scheme. If Danielle Hunter just feels more comfortable putting his hand in the dirt, that's right. I said hand in the dirt.
Yeah, be multiple too. Adjust, adapt.
Yeah. One more thing here. What are people saying about the Vikings? We have updated quarterback rankings from The Ringer. They are updating their quarterback rankings every single week.
Doing the Lord's work. I love how he's now letting people also make their own rankings through the system, too. He is allowing fans, I think, to do that. Yeah.
Oh, build your own custom rankings.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Oh, good for him. It's genius. The Lord's work. Okay, the number 1 quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. He has been number 1 pretty much all season. Number 2 is Josh Allen, he started the season as the 5th best quarterback. Now he's number 2. I don't know how he was ever 5th or 4th.
I was going to say that
to begin
with. I think we questioned that at the time, rightfully so.
It still says his game is a little rough around the edges. Is it though?
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Is it though?
Is it?
Sign me up for that.
Number 3, Justin Herbert, a football throwing robot. He's been basically 3rd all season.
Okay.
Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Do you think he is back to the old Lamar? He looks like he's hitting deep balls. He's using his legs.
Well, yeah, he's pushing the ball down the field. He had 4 opportunities to dagger those Bengals in the end of the first half on Sunday Night Football, and he just overthrew them. But at least he's making the attempt, I think. Like, it's not the fact that he missed them, it's the fact he's actually making the attempt to sling the ball down the field.
I think 4 seems a little high, but he's definitely back to playing at sort of an MVP level. Tom Brady 5th. Aaron Rodgers down to 6th now. He started
fair.
number 1 this season.
No, that's very fair right now.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is Dak Prescott, even though he's been on the shelf. Yeah, seems a little high. Joe Burrow 8. Kyler Murray 9. Trevor Lawrence 10. Matthew Stafford 11.
They laughed at you. They laughed at you, Mackie. Trevor Lawrence, they mocked you.
You all laughed.
The pundits mocked and ridiculed you and told you to go home, Macadac.
I use your laughs as fuel.
Fuel to your fire.
Stafford 11. Russell Wilson 12. He started the season 6th.
No, he should be lower than 12 right now.
He's playing terribly.
Yes,
he's awful.
Yes. He's either hurt, washed, or a combination of things.
And 13th, he's tied for his highest ranking of the season in the Ringer quarterback rankings, is the fourth quarter pharaoh himself, Kirk Cousins.
You like that? You like that?
Just ahead of Jalen Hurts. Geno Smith, who's up to 15th,
What a rise.
started at 22nd. He's been pretty damn good.
He's really good.
Derek Carr,
very
Ryan
good.
Tannehill, Tua, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston wind out the top 20. So Kirk has the 13th best quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I might have
12,
him right
13, 14.
right now. I might have him a little above that, but it's probably fair. I think so. I think Dak should not be nearly that high. Russell Wilson, I would flat out drop until he shows way more than this. Because I mean, right now, if I was taking quarterbacks, I would take Kirk over Wilson for sure right now.
Cooper Rush, 31st.
That's not fair. That's BS. That's BS for Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is going to be the starting quarterback for a team in 2023, and he is going to turn into to go in the Wayback Machine. Scotty Mitchell, who played for the Dolphins when Marino was hurt, got a huge contract from Detroit, and absolutely went in the toilet.
Jimmy G, 26th is way too low.
Yeah, that is too low.
26th? Come on now. Below Mariota, below Brissett, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones.
So what's the
Jared
justification,
Goff,
Phil?
So some of their
what's he
write-ups
basing
here,
this on?
some of the write-ups are more just like general, like write-ups from the beginning of the season here. So they don't provide like a new paragraph every week. They just kind of re-rank the quarterbacks. But
Jimmy G should be higher than that.
I think so too. But this is the fun part about ranking quarterbacks every week, is there's just endless fodder. Boys, I love October. It is my favorite month of the year. And my wife, who hates scary movies and haunted houses, did ask me if I would like to go to a haunted house at some point this month. So I am very excited. Do you have any recommendations, perhaps?
I do. I have a Nowhere Haunted House. You know, if you're going to make the trip here to a Surly Brewing event, Phil Mack, you may as well also check out Nowhere Haunted House, an all-indoor haunted attraction in Inver Grove Heights. They have a weekend evening attraction and a daytime low scare option. And for the more daring thrill seekers, Insomnia. Their hands-on, full immersive experience. It requires a waiver. If you really want to get scared, if you really want the full experience, I would highly recommend the Insomnia. You can book these tickets at nowherehauntedhouse.com. Go to Nowhere Haunted House to get your pants scared off. At Insomnia. It could be an absolute amazing experience. Nowhere Haunted House. Book your tickets now. Nowherehauntedhouse.com.
Also, a huge thanks to Federated Mutual Insurance Company here at Purple Daily and over on Mackie and Judd and just Score North in general. They've been great supporters of us as we look to build this community of Vikings fans and build this business. And they've been helping business owners inside and outside the state of Minnesota for over 100 years. It's like having a great offensive line to protect against risks on the horizon. You can find all sorts of information, tools, and resources at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Tomorrow on Purple Daily, it's the State of the Offense episode, and there's a lot of really interesting trends that we will get into on that episode. Also, a Reckless Speculation Thursday over on Mackie and Judd, our other daily show. So please check those out, and thank you all for if you're planning on joining the Surly Watch Party on Sunday, thank you in advance. Bring a hooded sweatshirt. Might be kind of chilly, but that's okay. You can warm up with a tall boy of Before I Die and some hog frites and pizza. See you tomorrow.